and welcome to yet another episode of Let's Talk Film with Kavata, your one-stop film show. And today our guest is one actor who is signed to Lincoln Talent.
Harbor it. Use it. Use your environment. Search it for things that are relevant to this moment. What impulses does she have moving forward? She's probably paranoid, to be completely honest. What's in the bedroom? What's in the basement? Now think. Let yourself go. Give yourself into her identity. What is the subtext of the scene? It's all up to instinct now. Beautiful. That was beautiful. I am sorry I had to yell. I hope you understand why.
Of course. Thank you, Mr. Meston.
And ladies and gentlemen, Nadia has just demonstrated what it means to get into the headspace of a character. Well done. Well done.
Thanks for having me.
So I would like you to kindly describe yourself, kidogo, a little bit of your introduction.
Wow. My name is Silas Mwenda. I am originally from Kenya, but I reside in the US. I do acting. Of course, I love acting. That is one of the basic things I do here. And as well, nafanya muziki hapa na pale, recording artist. And I am so passionate about it. I've been passionate about art for a long time, and I'm so thrilled and excited to be living it right now.
Nice. So you said you reside in the US. So which state are you in?
Actually, I'm usually California and sometimes Denver. It's super close to each other. So basically, California is where we have a lot of showbiz and stuff to do with acting and a lot of casting calls and stuff like that. So that's usually a big home for me.
I would really love to know your journey in your career as an actor. So would you kindly tell us about it?
I got in the US sometimes. I think 5 years ago, and when I got here, well, I used to work in Kenya. As in church, I used to in my Sunday school. I used to do a lot of acting, plays, and also in school, high school, college. When I went to university, I was still very active in acting and being in front of people. So it's something that I learned and I love to do a lot. I also participated in Phoenix Players. I'm not sure if they exist right now in Nairobi. It's used to be in Kenya National Theatre, and that's when Kenya National Theatre. I think it's still there. We used to go. It's next to Norfolk Hotel there.
KBC. KBC, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's where I used to go, especially over the weekend for the theaters and stuff to do with the acting. The industry was not very good because in Kenya, there's a lot of things to be done, especially with the film and acting industry. But I didn't let my vision, or rather my dream, die. So when I moved to the US, I was able to like pursue my dream very well. I got signed to Lincoln Talent, which is like film and commercial agency right here. And they've been able to push me to the next level for auditions and casting calls. And I've been able to work on a number of films. I worked on Love Lily. That was my first film I did ever when I moved here, which was very successful. From there, I was able to be booked for a couple of commercial. Then from there, I was able to work on a film called To Be You film. And then I worked on another film, Our Souls at Night. It was on Netflix. And then I was able to do my current film right now, which is Ride or Die. It's on HBO and Amazon Prime. You can check it out. So basically, I've been able to work on a number of stuff, including The Innocent Man, Elsie Goes Walking. It's a number of films for sure, and I'm so grateful so far.
So you mentioned about acting here in Kenya. So is the experience different while acting in Kenya and the US?
The experience, the casting, actually, the entire process is very different in terms of from the time the script is written to the agents. When I was back there, we didn't have any agents for the casting course. So basically, you could appear by yourself. But here in the US, you have to be signed by an agency for you to be able to make it through, because most of the casting calls, or rather for the casting calls, rather, they come through your agency. And if you're not signed anywhere, it's hard for you to know what is happening in the industry. So basically, most of the people who get the jobs, or rather the auditions, are people who are within their agencies.
So it will be hard for someone who is in Kenya and wants to join the US in acting. So they must be in an agency so that they can be able to act there.
No, basically what happens, for you to get signed to an agency, you have to be working as a solo artist, like in terms of you have to be working like independent, like indie actor. You have to work on personal project, and then from there, that's when agencies finds you. And once they find you, they are able to work with you depending on the reel, or rather the work you've done. You have to submit your resume. You have to submit your reel. Reel is like a simple sample of your work, what you're basically doing. Other times, because there are many agencies which are theater, and also we have film agencies. Some other agencies like theater, they find you when on stage doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A play or something, and then they sign you from there. So it's usually very hard for independent artists to get a breakthrough. But once you start working on your own craft, you find your own fire, and I think that's where things start. So,
and do you believe that the characters that you get in the film like define you in real life?
No, unfortunately, no. And especially in the US, most of the roles that I got are not very friendly. As coming from Africa and then moving to the US, I'll be categorized as a Black person. Yeah. And in most cases, the roles that I usually get are very, depending with my age, depending with my race, they are very stereotype in terms of, I don't know what to say, tough. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, sometimes tough, angry, brutal, and especially most of the films I've done with, I've worked on, actually, they're more of stereotype-based roles. But that does not mean that's how I am in person. Unfortunately, sometimes people translate this from screen to the real life, but that is just acting. It's just acting. Yep.
Okay, so do you have any upcoming projects?
Yes, I have a number of films that we worked on. They will be released sometimes later in the year after, I think, the corona pandemic is over. But and I'll also be working on, right now I'm working on my solo shows.
Yeah.
Solo shows is like one-man show.
Oh,
One-man show, yeah, one-man show is me getting on stage and just showcasing myself. It's a very demanding project, but I'm ready for it. It's not like, it's not a stand-up comedian. It's nothing to do with that. It's just getting on stage and performing your life, just showcasing yourself before people, so they can understand you. Yeah, it's called one-man show. And I have shows coming up in Los Angeles, Denver, and some other parts of the world.
And are you planning to
Of the US.
Are you planning
What's
to
that?
like work with other big people in your projects?
Yeah, it's basically a film. From the one-man show that I'm doing right now, it's where we will be writing the script for my next screenplay, and I am hoping to get a number of people, especially like American actors, in the project, which will be cast in sometimes next year, in January. So I hope it's going to get good reception. Yep.
And at this period of time, do you think that the film side is selling more than music?
I think it is. Commercially, it is doing better. I get more money from film than from the other side, but the other side I do it for like I do it for like ministry, love for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. We really actually love your music, and it really does bless us a lot.
Absolutely. I do it that way because I know it's like a calling, but acting is more of a career. It's money. So I do it as a career, and I always expect returns.
So how did you end up in the Hollywood agency?
Well, when I got here, I was able to book a number of play theater, and then from there, I did actually a couple of theaters, and then I could perform on stage every weekend. And from there, I was also able to book my first film, basically, which was called Love Lily film, where I played the character of Mr. Gore. And then the film did very well. It was an independent film, basically. And then from there, that's when my agency found me, because I could have my reel in place, and then I submitted my reel to them. Actually, I didn't even submit. They found it online, and then they called me. Then when they called me, when they found it online. And then they called me. When I went there, they were like, "Oh, Silas, we want to sign you." And then the rest was history. Basically, what I do, no matter how big the project is, and I also would like to encourage people, wherever you are, maybe in Kenya, no matter how big or small the project is, it's always good to work from the bottom, the deepest part of your heart.
And do you have Do you have any plans of doing any Kenyan film?
Do I have? Wow, if they cast me, I'm ready to work on it.
So if they cast you, you're free.
Yeah, if someone casts me on their, I'll be ready to jump in, because at the end of the day, art is art, whether it's done in Kenya, whether it's done in the US or in other parts of the world. I believe the core purpose, or maybe the main purpose of film or theater or music, is to reach humanity. And that's my basic line: to reach humanity, regardless of which direction.
Okay, so what would be your advice to a young actor who wants to join the agency that you are working with?
They first have to be the US.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because most of the agencies here, they sign people who reside in the United States, because and they are sending out the people out there. You have to be available in person to audition. You know what I mean? So it can be very hard if there's a film or maybe theater or commercial audition happening next week on Monday, and you live in Australia, or maybe you live in Meru, or you live in Mombasa. It's hard for you to be able to commute all the way from Kenya or whichever the parts of the world you're living into LA or New York for audition. So basically, and also you should be in a position to work in the United States because it is work. You know what I mean? So yeah, they're giving you work, or rather, they are sending you to auditions for the film, and you will be paid. So you should be eligible to work in the United States. There are a number of things they usually consider. So the first thing, I think you have to be in the United States or within the territory, the location.
All right. So do you follow up on Kenyan films?
Do I follow up on Kenyan film? Yes, I do. Sometimes I do, not always. I follow shows. Sometimes I watch shows actually, and I love them, especially on TV. I used to watch shows on Citizen TV. Real Housewife of Kawangware. I like that show. I'm not sure if it's still there. And I also watched. Yeah, I remember when I was back home, I watched a film. It was called Nairobi Half-Life.
Nairobi Half-Life, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a good film. And I also watched, is it Subira? There's another film I think I saw last year. I can't remember. Subira.
Yeah, Subira. Yeah. So how do you think we can improve our Kenyan films industry? How do you think it can improve?
Wow, that's a very good question. I think the biggest problem in Kenyan industry is most of the casting directors and most of the industry players, they are more of, let me just say, cartels. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So you went to an audition, instead of the casting directors selecting an actor or maybe an actress depending on the ability or the talent, they choose you because you have the looks, because you are known, or maybe you are affiliated to somebody they know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That one is not going to help internationally. He isn't going to cast you because maybe you have a popular face, or maybe you're known, your name is popular there, or maybe I don't know. That kills the industry because at the end of the day, talent is what goes beyond the looks. The skin color, the skin, especially for women. You see some casting directors, they're choosing some women because of the looks. Doesn't go like that, because the talent you're living out there in between is very big, and that is what is needed to take the industry to the next level internationally.
Yeah.
People out here, they don't care about the looks and this and that. They care about the talent. What did that actor or actress bring on the table? And I think it's very important for the casting directors to be able to follow up on the talent, whether the talent is known or not known. Cast that individual for that role.
So what will be your advice to an African filmmaker or writer?
As Africa, the world has seen us as people who are, our stories has been single, agenda driven, in terms of it's a country suffering from maybe poverty, or maybe from diseases, from this and that. We are fighting this, we're fighting that. It is us, it's you like filmmakers, or you like storytellers, to be able to tell the story of Africa or maybe Kenya from your perspective of joy. There has been a lot of joy, misrepresented joy in the world, whereby, because like when I was growing up in Kenya, I used to watch like Disney films, the cartoons, remember? I think the ponytails on TV, that's what I grew up watching. And unfortunately, those animation, there's nothing which represented me as a person, as a young kid growing in Kenya. And it's very wrong. I wish I could see those animation where they appear with Maasai beads, or they're speaking with my accent, or behaving like a kid who lives where I was living. But it was not on my TV. I was not represented. But you as a filmmaker, you as a crew, wherever you are right now, I think it's a great deal for you to be able to work on stories which will be able to showcase Africa on the world stage in a very positive way. Africa is a very happy continent. Africa is a very joyous and a very bright continent. So if you can work on those stories to sell to the world, I think that would be the best and the perfect step to start with.
Thank you so much, Silas. It has been a pleasure having you here, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to seeing you next time.
Okay, thank you. That was Silas Mwenda, an actor and a recording artist. I hope you've learned something from him. Until next time, keep it Let's Talk Film with Kavata. Thank you.